Hello, I'm Dr. Daniel.
Hello, Dr. Daniel. I'm Imani. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. So what brings you here today?
Um, Recently I've been feeling depressed again, and I thought that I should come in and speak with someone about it.
Okay, glad you're here. I need to inform you of your self-determination and your rights to consent for the services that are being provided. So I need to let you know that everything that we discuss here today will remain confidential unless there is a threat to harm yourself or others, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, please tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm 17. I'm not in school. I'm not working. Um, I don't have many hobbies right now, but I do like to write, and I really like to read,
Okay,
and I enjoy spending time talking to my sister.
okay. And what do you like to write about?
Um, Usually about sad things.
Okay. Okay. And you said you're here for depression. When did your depression start?
I think I may have been depressed my whole life. I know I've been sad since I was very small, but I think my depression got very bad and very noticeable when I was probably around 11 or 12.
Okay.
I just started middle school and I had trouble finding friends that were solid, and I felt very alone because my mom was in a new relationship, so I really felt like I had nowhere to turn, no one to talk to. Yeah, and then I don't know, being alone made me realize that I was probably depressed after I started, I had access to the internet and I was able to read on it more, and I realized that I had a lot of the symptoms and that I probably was depressed.
Okay. Okay. And you mentioned your mom. How's your relationship with your mom?
My relationship with my mom, it hasn't been good for a few years now, ever since I was able to really have my own voice and speak for myself. We've gone head to head probably for like 5 years now. We really have trouble communicating and trouble just getting along, even, sharing the same living quarters. There's always a problem, either with her or with me. So, yeah, relationship has a lot of room for improvement.
Okay. And you say improvement. Have there been any changes within the last 5 years?
She was engaged around the same time that I noticed that I was depressed, and the man that she was with thought that, it was only right of him to try to play the role of my father, and usually anytime there's a male figure of authority over me, I have a problem with it. And I think that comes from my dad being absent in my life.
Okay. And your dad is absent in your life. Is he still living?
Yeah, he's alive, but he doesn't live with us, and he doesn't call very often, and we don't really speak, so we don't really have much of a relationship. I'd like to have one with my dad, but yeah, we don't have a very strong relationship. He's remarried. He has a new family that he lives with in South Carolina.
Okay. And when was the last time you spoke with your dad?
I talk to him a couple times a year. I can't really, give you a date or a time frame, but it was probably a few months ago. I don't speak with him very often, and if I do, it's very short and usually very, hostile, me being angry towards him, and, he has trouble understanding it. And I try to explain it to him, but I just don't think he'll really ever understand.
Okay. Okay. Let's go back to your depression. Okay. And you said you started when you were in middle school. Am I correct? Okay. What has triggered your depression today?
Today, I think, my family, my mom and my sister, who I've always lived with, they recently moved to Texas, and I chose to stay, and things were going okay, but I don't know, I've never been away from them, and I feel like me being separated from them has caused me to feel a little bit out of my element, and it's triggered some depression.
Okay. And what other symptoms are you experiencing?
I'm very withdrawn most of the time. I have a lot of trouble concentrating on small things, like finishing an episode of something on TV, or reading a book consistently like I usually can, or being able to write and keep a one-track mind while writing. And I get very, very flustered very easily, very angry. Small things can happen, like spilled water the other day, and that made me cry, which was very weird. But
Okay.
yeah, there's a lot of small things can bring an uprise of emotion that's way stronger than I feel like it should be.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I don't have much control over my sadness, and I don't know, I'm spaced out a lot. I have trouble sleeping, or I sleep too much.
Okay. Is this your first counseling session?
No, I've seen 2 or 3 other counselors, outpatient, and I've seen some counselors inpatient as well.
Okay. Okay. And how long ago was that?
The last time I saw a counselor was in the spring of this year,
Mm-hmm.
so I haven't seen someone since probably April.
Okay. And did you receive any treatment or therapy?
We were doing DBT, and also she prescribed me with some medicine for my depression and also some medicine for my anxiety.
Okay. And are you still taking those medications?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And how long has it been since you discontinued?
Around the same time that probably a month after I stopped seeing my therapist, I stopped taking my medicine because no one was able to write out a prescription for me.
Okay. Okay. So you said it's been about a month, and you stopped therapy because you felt. How did you feel? Why did you stop therapy?
I stopped therapy because my therapist suggested that me and my mom try a family session. So we did a few of those, but then, they didn't go very well, and it made me feel as if my counselor viewed me in a different light because she had seen different sides of me,
Mm-hmm.
which I know professionally that's not true, but it made me feel, I didn't feel comfortable in the environment anymore
Okay.
because I had been there with my mom, so I chose to stop going.
With your mom.
I chose to stop going altogether.
Okay.
I went to a few sessions after me and my mom stopped, but then they weren't the same, so I stopped seeing her. And she prescribed me Celexa and Klonopin.
Okay. And how did they work for you?
The Celexa worked really great, but the Klonopin made me more tired than I already was because I was already sleeping a lot, and I would take it in the morning and then as needed. So it was making me, drag throughout my days. So I didn't like the Klonopin much, but the Celexa did help my depression.
Okay. And did you explain this to the prescribing therapist, how you were feeling?
Yeah, she lowered the dosage on my Klonopin just to see, and then I'd stop taking it in the morning and just whenever I would get really anxious, and that did help a lot.
Okay. 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 So tell me, you said you're currently not working.
No, ma'am.
Okay. And you
I really would like to be working, and I have been applying for jobs, but I applied for some jobs before Thanksgiving, and then Black Friday had passed, and then I continued to try to find jobs, mostly in retail, after Thanksgiving. I just think around the holiday time, they've already hired enough people.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm really looking for work, probably in the restaurant industry again, and I think I'll have better luck finding work there.
Okay. And what is your highest level of education?
I completed up until the 10th grade, and I'm working towards my GED right now.
Okay. And what are your future plans?
I don't have consistent plans for my future. I do know that I would like to go to school, and I would like to, find a solid career that I would like to do for my life.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I'm not sure what that will be. But I do feel like, being in the workforce again and, finishing my GED courses will, aid my depression and make me feel a little bit happier.
Okay. Okay. So, at this time, you were telling me about your depression and what started your depression and how you're feeling now with your depression. And tell me, with the therapy that you received, did you try any different techniques such as relaxation techniques, meditation maybe,
Yes.
breathing techniques, walking techniques? What was some of the things that you've tried in the past that possibly may have alleviated some of your depression?
One thing that we did was we found hobbies for me that I could do at home if I started to feel, some symptoms of depression or some symptoms of me like leading towards a panic attack or just feeling anxious in general. And some of those things were journaling for 15 minutes at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I try to read as much as I can if my mind starts to, go to a bad place. And also coloring in the adult coloring books was one of my favorite things to do.
Okay. And you said you had panic attacks.
Yes.
Okay. So tell me about your panic attacks. Do you know what triggered those?
Usually thinking about events from my past, or sometimes there's no trigger at all, and I could just be going about my day, and something within me will not be right, and I can feel my heart starting to beat a lot faster, and my breaths get shorter, and I just feel like I'm in a box that I can't get out of, and have to have all these questions around me, and I have to be able to answer every single question before I can get out of that box.
Okay. And you said your past, some things in your past triggers. Can we talk about your past?
Yes. One thing that usually triggers a panic attack is thinking about one of my mom's childhood friends that I spent a lot of time with as a smaller kid. She committed suicide when I was right after we had moved to Atlanta, so I was probably 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes if I'm thinking about even really good times that we shared together, just knowing that we had those good times and we can't continue to make good times like that will make me have a panic attack.
Okay. So when your mom's friend was living, how was your relationship with your mom then?
Well, I was a child then, so, it was just as good as she would ever want it to be. She was able to make the decisions and I couldn't make any decisions. So it was good for her, but I was just a kid. Kids live in their own worlds. They're not too impacted in the moment, probably in the future, but in the moment by the things that are going on around them. I was able to just be a kid and not have to worry about what my relationship was like with my mom.
So you were close with your mom's friend. She was like a mother figure to you?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay.
I do notice that when I was little, I would always seek an outside source to try to kind of, fill the place of my mother, even though my mother was there.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because of the lack of an emotional connection between the two of us.
Okay. So, when you reflect on the past and you think about your relationships in general with distant people, who are the most important people in your life at this time?
Even if it's negative?
Well, let's talk about it.
The most, I wouldn't say important, but the most significant people in my life, especially with how my mental state is right now, would be definitely my father and my mother, my ex-boyfriend, and Kamala, who was my mom's friend that committed suicide.
Okay. So, what changes have you tried to make in your life?
I've tried, I haven't been in school for a few years, so I've tried working different jobs to see if working in different environments will help. I've tried therapy, I've tried medicine, I've tried talking to people outside of counselors, people that are just friends or family. I've tried to find hobbies for myself or do volunteer work. I've just tried to keep myself occupied so that I don't have time to be depressed, but it seems like the more occupied I make myself, at the end of the day, the more I feel all that depression come to me.
Okay, and so do you have a social life?
No.
No social life. Okay, okay. Are there people in your life, do you have a support system?
Yeah, I have a new, very strong support system. I live with my aunt and my uncle now, and I have my closest cousin with me. So the support that I get from them is very new to me, but it's very stable, and I really like it. And I think it really stops me from getting as depressed as I used to get.
Mm-hmm. So what are they doing differently in your life today that you wish that you could have had it with your own family, with your mom?
Really just someone to not just listen, but listen and, try to understand and show that they care about what's going on, aside from what you can just see on the surface. The things that I'm able to share that I don't feel comfortable sharing with my mom, I'm able to share with my aunt. And it makes me feel like I have a secure person to talk to, and that helps me a lot.
So you feel comfortable in talking with her?
Yes.
Okay. And she is a positive person in your life at this moment?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything else you would like to discuss?
I have a few questions that I'd like to ask you, if that's okay.
Yes, that's fine.
How often do you think we'd probably be doing sessions? On a weekly basis or a monthly basis?
How often would you like to have the sessions? I think weekly sessions would be good. I would need to go through the notes that we've taken today, that I've taken today, and go over them and come up with a treatment plan that will best fit your needs. Okay, so we could possibly meet next week. One of the things that I would like for you to start doing, if possible, is to journal. I would like for you to start back journaling and tell me the times that you feel your anxiety or you feel your panic attacks triggering, okay? And let's start from there, okay? Is there anything else?
I have still been trying to journal. However, it's very hard for me to be consistent about it, just because there's a lot of times where I'm not exactly sure how I'm feeling. And even, when I'm feeling better, I'm able to just put pen to paper and just write, and it flows evenly. But me writing right now, it's like I don't know where my mind's at, because probably my mind's in several different places, or it's nowhere at all. So I never know what to write about, and even if I'm just trying to force myself to write just to see what will come out, usually I don't get very much from it.
Let's talk about your sleeping habits.
It's either very, very, very hard for me to fall asleep, or it's very hard for me to stay asleep. And even if I'm not waking up and being aware that I'm waking up, I do know that I wake up a lot throughout the night because I move around a lot, so I feel like I'm not really fully asleep if I'm moving around that much.
Okay. Okay. And as I had mentioned before, as far as the techniques that you have tried before, breathing techniques, exercising, is that something that we can look at as one of your objectives?
Yeah, I really would like to, once again, find not even just the same things that I was trying before, because now it's hard for me to focus on those things, and they do help me, but it's really hard for me to, be consistent about doing those things. And I'd like to find a few other things that I would be able to do to occupy myself and get myself out of that mindset.
Because I know at one point you talked about coloring.
Yes.
You enjoy coloring. You enjoy writing. You enjoy reading. And we can also talk about in our next session your sleeping habits. The things that you were telling me about your depression, what started your depression. I need to know next week when we meet, how has that been going for you? and we will continue to possibly try to find some ways to assist with that depression.
Would it be okay if I shared some goals that I have for myself?
Yes, that would be great.
I would like to find a job,
Okay.
and I would like to improve my relationship with my mom, even if it's just a little bit.
Okay.
I'd like to have a little more sense of self and, really be able to know who I am right now and what I like right now, because I feel like I've lost that. I'd like to get back into the hobbies that my interests, and be able to do those things and feel good about doing those things. And I'd like to, get out more and, make new friends since I'm new to the town again, and, surround myself with good people and people in general, just because, being alone isn't always healthy for me, and I'm aware of that, but I don't do much to try to change that.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you sharing that with me. I do. And they sound like great goals. It sounds like that you have a bright future ahead of you. And I would like to continue to meet with you, okay? I would like to thank you for coming in today. And as I stated before, everything that we have shared will remain confidential. Okay? So I'll be giving you a call. Or someone from myself will give you a call and let you know what day next week and what time we will meet, okay?
Okay, awesome.
All right. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Have a good day.